Something that's pretty normal for me is that I'm always thinking. And if I'm not thinking, I'm taking in information. So while I was walking around in the living room, thinking to myself as usual, I was thinking about how my personal feelings versus the social consequence is pretty important when discussing certain topics. I don't know how I got to this, as the way I often speak in videos or in conversation is reflective of how I often think, where you can step away and then come back into the room and I'm thinking about something completely different. Constant tangents and rambles. But I think it came from thinking about certain social issues around men in society, and then I eventually pivoted to blood and violence versus like sexual themes, and that's how I came to this conclusion. Don't ask how I even got to social issues around men. I have no idea. I was just fixing my sheet on my bed and going on and on and on in my head. So I was thinking about how my personal feelings are just completely separate from like how I would actually react. You know, there's definitely a thing where a lot of people act a certain way and are often taught to act a certain way in order to just function normally in society, I suppose. Oh yes, that was also something I was thinking about. I was thinking about sociopathy and psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder. I don't know how I got to that either. Um, I guess, and I was also thinking about whether there's more people who are who do have some sort of sociopathy or um antisocial personality disorder that just are very good at blending in, because there are some cases where, you know, certain things are literally beaten into you or figuratively beaten into you. Having proper posture, looking a certain way, standing a certain way, speaking a certain way, etc., etc. I was thinking about how it's considered rude to lean forward or that you're not paying attention to lean forward, but I consider that a not perfect reading, and that might have been something that just in the past was conditioned into everyone. Because if I lean forward and I brace myself or I put my hand on my chin or something, I'm usually either thinking or focusing on something. So if I'm in a classroom or meeting room or what have you, and I lean forward, that is me not relaxing. That is me giving you my full focus and attention. I am leaning closer to you. I don't see how that can be seen as me being distracted. There's also other things where the person, seemingly almost as if they have some sort of neurodivergency themselves, will be disturbed by you playing with something in your hand or twisting something or turning something, which might be an indicator that you have ADHD, or rather, I have ADHD. But I don't see how that is also somehow going to disturb the person that is giving a presentation or whatnot. Especially if you're not making any noise, you're just fiddling while listening to them. But back on the topic of hand, many who know me either purely through online classes or through online may think, oh, Miles, you censor yourself all the time. What do you mean you don't understand why swears are bad, or don't see the point in certain words being um like not as bad as we think they are, and we're just holding on to the past and what have you and whatnot, like not seeing the why these things are bad. And if I ever self-censor myself, there's either two reasons. One, a elder or parent or something of the sort is right next to me, so you're not really seeing the true me, and you're looking at an incomplete puzzle, for which I am doing for the sake of peace and for the sake of a more comfortable home life or what have you. I don't need the unnecessary lecture, argument, or waste of my time. Or I am clearly doing it for social media algorithms and platforms, as so too as swears were seen as not good in society, so too is it with something like YouTube. If I'm uploading something to YouTube, or I'm making a about section or a description, I will censor myself in that, because I don't want it to be flagged in any way, shape, or form. And another thing is the what I was thinking about when I clicked record here was I could read the most gory, bloody book on a train station, a bus stop, in the bus, anywhere without real worry. Even in a place of worship, provided that it doesn't look demonic or indicate any kind of thing that would be considered specifically wrong in said belief subscription. I'd take my chances. I'd be quite comfortable and on alert. But the second I open a book with, say, sexual themes, I would, in the imagery, of course, both of these is referring to imagery, I would, or even just nudity in a non-sexual way, I would turn to the side or just not read the book. And that has nothing to do with my own personal feelings on the topic. Often, gore and sex, or blood and bodily stuff, and stuff revolving around nudity, sex and what have you, are, I have the same general response to it. There is no real significance. Any kind of, I didn't need to see that, or disturbing or uncomfortableness I will feel from it really is about the same, with the only difference being genitalia, in which I will be like, I didn't need to see that, and I didn't want to see that. Which is more of a, basic human psychology on account of being the primary area you wish to cover up. I do think that's also why people are particularly, weird about mammaries or the chest of a woman and what have you, because the entire twit situation, which is what, female presenting nipples. The entire reason, or not the entire reason, but part of the reason is like those are the areas we go out of the way to cover. Whereas in a lot of cultures, it's pretty normal to find a man shirtless, at least in his own home or yard, or in a non-public space. But in some cultures, it's normal in public space as well. So I think that is part of it. We specifically cover up those areas, and therefore, upon reveal, that there is a certain emotions that are triggered in different people. one or multiple. But yeah, that's all for this video. I'm gonna go back to getting something to eat now, which is what I was doing before I decided, yeah, I'm gonna document this thought. Bye bye.